Afra says hello too. Yeah, I was getting to you, you doofus. So it is abominably hot out. Let's switch this just a little bit this way. As I'm sure you all know, I just checked right before this and it said it felt like 102 out. So that's pleasant. Not really. So today we're going to do a real easy, simple craft. I completely forgot to finish my castle. I know, Afra is upset at me for not completing my castle. I completely forgot to complete my castle, so I will do that for next week. I did paint on, like, there's the little, like, tower room and some other rooms, and I did little, makes it almost look like he has a face. Thanks, Afra, but they're little, like, arrow slots. So I did do some stuff, but I have not glued them onto the base, hot glued them onto the base. So I will be doing that for next week. This week we're doing a pretty simple craft, I think, as I've already said. We are doing a... Afra doesn't want it to be a simple craft. We are doing Rainbow Fan Garland. And I'm not going to do the whole garland. I'm just going to give you show you how, do a bunch of them, set it up. You can see how they're done. Basically all you need are, as I said in the description, scissors, various color pieces of paper. It can be, I'm using construction paper today, but it can be colored printer paper if that's what you have, and tape. And if you have not square pieces of paper, Afra, if you're not using like origami or scrapbook paper, you will need a ruler because you need to cut out square pieces of paper. So, and you want to, yes, I said a whole bunch of different colors. So the first thing you need to do is cut out your paper. If you're using construction paper, that is 9 by 12. So you want to cut 9 inches, 9 inches in, basically 3 inches off the end. If you're using printer paper, the dimensions are 8.5 by 11. So you'll want to cut it at 8.5 instead of 9 inches. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. You don't have to like draw a line or anything. That is not at all a straight line though. You probably can tell even from there. Yeah. So we're gonna just turn this down a little bit because it should be more accurate than that. Let me tell you. All right. So we can toss that aside. Keep this scrap paper for possibly later crafts. Work my way through all my scrap paper. Pop that on the floor. We'll do a blue piece. I'm going to do, I think, 4 pieces to start with. 4 different colors. And then I will go from there if need be. If we're not getting the idea of the garland after 4 pieces, I will cut a few more. So there's that one. What do I want? What other colors? Let's dig down deep. I don't think I mentioned, but a while back, but I got an influx of basically donated from my childhood store of construction paper. So that's what I'm working with, which is 100% a-okay. But it's like not actually like in the regular order. I don't know if you've ever paid attention to construction paper, but they usually do like one blue, like they put it in like rainbow order, and obviously that is not how mine is right now. Let's go with a red. Maybe a green? Apparently, in my household, growing up, green was very popular because I do not seem to have a green, but I do have green because I have the construction paper I bought at the beginning of this crafting adventure. So we're gonna steal a green out of there, and we're gonna cut that one. Okay, I need to integrate the 2 collections of construction paper anyway, so that's just what we'll do today. This one's a little bendy, but that's okay. All right, so we're gonna cut the craft. I also would like to throw out there that this was a craft request from a watcher, so as I said before, if you have a craft you want to suggest, please feel free. I am always open to ideas. I usually plan a couple weeks ahead, so you wouldn't necessarily get it immediately, but I would do it certainly within the month. All right, so now we have this. Now you're just gonna accordion fold it. So you're just gonna do the classic. Doesn't matter really your width as long as you are at, as long as you keep it the same way all the way along. Hi, Afra. Let me do a couple, and then I'll show them to you, and then because it's not really something I can show on screen. It's just, you're just doing this kind of thing. And you're going to do all 4 of those. All 4 of your papers that way, but we're going to do one at a time. Because that's more interesting for you guys than me just sitting here for the next, 10 minutes just folding accordion style paper. So, all right. So I have my green. My green is done. Now, she wanted to see it too. All right. So now, as you might know, to make it a fan, you're going to fold it in half. Yeah. And then, sometimes like you can staple it, you can do any number of things. We're going to make it real simple this week and just use a little piece of tape. You're going to tape, let me see if I can move this forward a little bit so that you can still see my face, but it's also enough to hold things up quite so high. I'm going to put the tape right here, fold it in like this, and just fold my tape over, and now I have a fan. And we're going to do this for my other 3 pieces of paper. And then I will show you how to connect them to make them, yes, I did hold the accordion in tribute to Afra. And then we're going to make them into the garland. So, I mean, you certainly can, you don't have to use tape. You can, thanks, Afra. You can glue them. As you know, if you watched last week's, you'll know I managed to find our glue sticks. I also happened to have to be at Target this weekend, so because we were down to a single glue stick, I bought 2 more glue sticks because now is the perfect time to buy those basic supplies. 2 nice Elmer's glue sticks for a whole 50 cents. School supply. All right, I'm gonna hold this one up to Afra too. See, there we go. There's our fan. And I'm going to hold it up to you guys. You do the same thing here. You're going to fold it in half. This one's fighting me a little bit. Fold it in half. It's possible. It's interesting using some of the old construction paper from when I was a kid, and then using some of the new construction paper that I've bought since the pandemic started. I'm going to tape again. I honestly think the construction paper is not as thick as it used to be, which is an interesting little discovery, because this is the older stuff, and it's fighting me a little bit because it's thicker. It's a little bit thicker than the new stuff. Not a lot, but I think just enough to add a little bit, and there's my second fan. So, and if you might have remembered, as I was cutting, I did a blue and a pink. So we're going to have green, yellow, blue, pink. Now, when you go to actually connect your fans into a garland, you can do it in, rainbow order. So for those of you who have, probably maybe up through 6th grade science, maybe that's when you learn color order. But, or a really big art person who learned, because I know color order is important in the arts, in art. You are probably familiar with Roy G. Biv, which is the standard, kind of, on the next one, so I'm going to fold this in half, which basically each letter in Roy G. Biv stands for a color, and that gives you your order of your rainbow. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. I'm not going to probably bother to deal with that. I purposely picked one of the ones that's not mentioned, aka pink, as my first color. So you can organize it certainly in rainbow color order. You can also put it in any gosh darn color order that so makes you happy. So that's what I'm going to do. Because you know what? We're in the middle of a pandemic, and why not do what makes you happy? So, I'm folding the pink one now. You notice I didn't have to hold the last one up with the tribute to the bird. You didn't seem to notice. So we're gonna finish folding these. This is actually a really soothing craft to do, especially if you're doing a whole garland, because there's something about doing this repetitive flip, flip, flip motion to do the craft that is very soothing. Some things just are very soothing, and sometimes it depends on the moment you're doing it whether or not it's soothing and satisfying, but that was holding this one in particular was very satisfying. So I'm going to fold this one in half, and we're going to tape this one, and then I'll show you my 4 fans, can't count, 4 fans, and all right, so I have my pink fan, I have my blue fan. It's a little uneven, but whatever. You can see how down there, like this one folded perfectly, and this one did not. It's the older paper versus the newer paper thickness wise. And then I have the yellow. So then basically what you do is I'm going to take this fan, and I'm going to take my blue fan. Yeah, somebody said, since it's so hot, just make fans. I mean, it does actually feel pretty nice. It's a little wimpy. Honestly, if I'd wanted like a good fan, I needed like cardstock or something. But you know, it's better than nothing, certainly. I happen to have, I don't know if you can tell, can't really tell in here if you can tell, but the ceiling fan, there's a ceiling fan in this room and the ceiling fan is on. So that's what's keeping me cool at the moment. So then what you do is you take this fan and another fan and you line up here and tape. So I'm going to put those down so I can get a piece of tape. Try not to tape my other fan. Now, I also might suggest, as you can see, like it's separated a little at the top, if you want it to look really, really good, you'll do tape the whole length. I'm not going to, but you certainly can. So let's see, I'm going to tape on the pink here and line it up with my blue here so that the end of the pink lines up with the center of the blue and vice versa. And then tape it. And that's the beginning of your garland. So it's basically going to, so now I will show you the hardest part of this is lining up your outside piece with your outside piece, honestly. Like, that is the hardest part of this whole project. And if that's the hardest part of this whole project, it is a pretty easy project. So I'm going to tape on the blue. Actually, no. I'm going to tape on the green because the blue's already attached to the pink. So if I tape on the green, I'm giving myself a little bit more space. And there, you're starting to see, can you guys see the pattern now of how this works? And you just continue this. And so I'm going to attach the yellow to the green. And that one lined up perfectly without me even having to think about it, which is great, because thinking when it's hot is hard. So I'm going to tape that to my yellow down. And then line that up. Tape, 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 tape. There. Now you can see how the garland, and you just keep doing that. And yeah, I definitely suggest using longer tape on this because it'll actually make your garland hold together a lot better. Yeah, and then this hangs nicely. Then you just have to, you can either just take the ends, where am I? This end. You know, and just like put it into whatever you want. You know, like use a push pin. Or you can certainly tape it to your wall. I would use like frog tape or something like that if you're taping it to a wall. You could also put a little bit of string on the end, you know, and hang it off something. You can just tape the string. You can glue the string. But yeah, this is how the fans worked. So as I said, very easy. There we go. Very easy craft this week. Just a fun, simple, but I really like it. It was a really good suggestion. Thank you, Emily, for suggesting it. Because it is really fun. And as I said, you can do actual like rainbow color, or you can just do whatever you kind of have on hand and throw it together. You can do a pattern. So like I could put like a yellow here, and then a green, and then a blue. Or you can just keep throwing colors on there at random. It is completely up to you, however you think it looks best. So yeah, so that's the color Garland. So that's a pretty cool and easy project. Next week's projects, and yes, I said projects plural, are not going to be quite so easy. We're doing 2 projects next week. Let me just make sure they're a little complicated. So let me pull up my, wait, it's not, yeah. Let me pull up I pulled them up and then I put them back down when I actually went to do the craft, and that was silly. All right. So for the next 2 weeks, we're gonna do kind of a little theme. Just push this back a little bit. We're gonna do musical instruments the next 2 weeks. So if you have an animal you want to bother, like Afro will be getting played at the next 2 weeks, or a child you want to bother, or you want your child to bother you, these are the weeks for you. We're going to do 2 crafts each week because they're pretty simple. What we're doing next week is we're going to make harmonicas out of popsicle sticks, and we're going to make little like panpipes out of straws. So what you need is a whole bunch of plastic straws. You'll need them for both the harmonicas and the panpipes. You'll need rubber bands. You'll need tape. A strip of paper for the harmonicas, which is easy enough to do. Any kind of paper. Printer paper is probably best, but any kind of paper will do. You need a couple rubber bands and scissors, which actually is not that long of a list. It's only 6 different items. So it's actually pretty easy. It's not going to be too complicated, but that's why we're going to make both. The panpipes are completely out of straws, so you do want a whole bunch of straws, plastic straws. Luckily, they are super cheap. And we're also going to use those for the harmonicas, and I said popsicle sticks. And then the week after that, we're going to make 2 different size, like guitar banjo things. We're going to make one that's only about yay big. So if you finish in the meantime like a pop top jar, save that for that week. You also want to save a paper towel roll and a tissue box for that week. Those are the main things that you're going to want to save for that week. Let me double check, that you might not have on hand. It's also going to require a bunch of rubber bands, a popsicle stick, and some sort of heavy-duty tape. And those are the things we're going to make the next couple of weeks. If you do not want to annoy somebody with music, or don't want somebody to potentially, annoy you with music, you should probably not watch the next 2 weeks. Which I hate to say, don't watch the next 2 weeks, but I will give you a fair warning that there is going to be a lot of noisemakers in the next 2 weeks. Yes, like a library and kazoo band was a comment. I'm not making kazoos because they're actually weirdly hard to make. That being said, if you have had a young adult, if you are a young adult at the library, or if you have one in your household, you probably know that a couple years ago I gave away kazoos as one of the summer reading prizes. So you might have a library kazoo already in your house. But yeah, I won't be making kazoos because they're even more annoying, and they're also a little harder to make because the harmonica's similar enough in that it's a humming vibration is basically what we're working on here. So yeah, I'm definitely encouraging mayhem, I will admit. No drums though, I promise. And actually these ideas all came from Stacy, who a lot of you might know. She has kids in the school. She's been at the library forever and ever and ever. And she sent me these ideas back a couple months ago for a whole bunch of different instruments, and I've been collecting the materials, and now I have the materials I need. I collected, here's my Kleenex box, just waiting to be made a guitar. So yeah, so now that I have them, we're going to do them. And yeah, I bought straws a while back for something else. So I have a ton, because you can't buy just like a plastic straw. You have to buy, because they're like less than a cent. So you buy like 100 plastic straws. So I have a whole bunch, so I'm excited to do the... Sorry, it's so dry out that... So hot out that my throat's gotten dry. I'm excited to do this and create some mayhem with all of you via musical instruments. So I hope you will be back next week to make harmonicas and basically panpipes, little windpipes. We'll see how well they work. I have made them I have made the panpipes before. I have made a harmonica before, but it has been a very long time. So we'll see how well they work and if they actually are mayhem inducing. And other than that, I hope to see you next week. Thanks for watching.